Hey guys, so a lot of people might be having pain around the wrist or the thumb area, especially women who just gave birth and because they are now looking after a baby which they're not used to. So that includes carrying the baby or even breastfeeding. And what happens is you start to get inflammation of these two tendons in your thumb and wrist area. It's quite easy to see. It's not an easy injury to treat. It's a very sensitive tendon. So when you do injure it, you really have to be careful. Simple test is do a Finkelstein test. Now, the traditional Finkelstein test is you grab the thumb and then you do this movement. And it hurts quite a lot. However, because you don't want to aggravate it, you can just do a much more gentler version. Just close your thumb on top of your wrist and then bend it this way. And even in this position, you'll feel the pain in that area. So once you do know that you have this injury, the most important thing is to protect it and prevent aggravating these tendons. So the easiest way is just to buy some type of wrist or thumb splint. I can't recommend any specific brand. All I'm going to say is that when you do buy a wrist or a thumb splint, just make sure that has really good support. Make sure that it prevents movement of the thumb and wrist. So for example, this splint itself stops me moving the wrist, which is good, but it doesn't stop me moving the thumb. Now here's another version of a thumb splint or wrist splint that you might be more familiar with. This one here immobilizes the thumb very well, but it doesn't really immobilize the wrist. So you really want to get something that has both the thumb and the wrist support, and something like this that you can buy online should do the job. So I normally tell my patients that have really bad pain in this area to wear that thumb and wrist splint for about 10 days. And that really should help relieve the pain. And that'll take you to your second stage of recovery. I would recommend they switch to taping. Now, if your pain here is not that strong and is very mild, then you can skip the first step and just go straight to this second step. So I've cut out 2 strips. It's about the length of my hand to the little finger. You can see that, right? This is the position you want to be in when you're taping. 45 degrees in this downwards direction. You can adjust it yourself to make sure it crosses over the painful area. So if it's higher up or if it's lower down, it's up to you. And of course, the tighter you pull, the more support there is. That's the first strip. On a side note, I actually do prefer to round the edges so that it doesn't get stuck on clothing. This fleshy bit of the thumb, we start over there. Once again, 45 degrees in the opposite direction now. Okay, that's it. So this really helps protect this area, especially when I do this, which is often when it hurts. And it also helps with the rotation movements, which is why it's so useful. Just make sure when you tape, the start and the end of the tape must be on the skin. Make sure it doesn't overlap, because this tape sticks well to skin, but it doesn't stick well to itself. And then this is stage 2, and I would tell patients perhaps to wear this for the next 2 to 3 weeks. And the last thing I would recommend is they actually put ice every single day. Now, there's a lot of different opinions about whether to put ice or heat. There is no research that says which one is better. And the good thing is, if you put ice or you put heat, it's not going to make it worse. It either will have no effect or it makes it better. The first thing is test, get an accurate diagnosis. The second thing is protect. And the third thing is ice or heat pack, in which case ice.